JazzTV.
Ciao, siete sempre su JazzTV e io sono Alex Pierro. Il 18 novembre la Eagle Rock Entertainment ha pubblicato Live in Berlin, doppio CD più DVD dell'artista americano Gregory Porter. La sua musica spazia dal jazz al soul al gospel al blues e noi l'abbiamo incontrato all'indomani del suo concerto al Teatro Nazionale di Milano, dove ha chiuso la rassegna musicale JazzMI.
Yeah, I'm probably thinking of a little boy sitting next to a console stereo, putting my record on just the way that I did. And so I'm thinking of what am I saying to him? What am I saying to myself? If I could go back in time. That's the way I listen to music. And it was powerful for me then. And so, yeah, that's not my market. A 5-year-old is not my market. But if he consumes it, I want there to be something there for him. With Nat King, I have wrote a song about it. It was called Unintended Consequence. Basically, I was singing to Nat King Cole. I wrote the song to Nat King Cole, basically saying, you never knew after your final hour there'd be this unintended consequence of you being you. Like, his music came to me as a 5-year-old and had me imagining him as my father and had me internalizing his words like fatherly advice. And I don't suggest that my music does that to a 5-year-old now. I don't know, but maybe they think they hear the lullaby in Be Good. Maybe they hear the inspirational message in No Love Dying. Maybe they hear irrepressible love and holding on. I don't know, but I do have lots of mothers tell me, my kids love your music. So do we, and so does my grandmother. I like that. I think, that's success in a way. That's success. That's just open music success. Maybe one thing that I'm very happy about in my career. Yes, that I've sold a number of records, but I like the fact that, I didn't try to find a way or come up with a formula to attach myself to one demographic. These demographics have found me. I feel like that music is there and it's going to be there for me. And it's in my the albums that I have to do in the future is very projects that I have coming up very soon. I'll be pulling from the Great American songbook as well as the lesser known jazz songs. But that music is very important to me. Oscar Brown Jr. is almost like an archetype that existed 100, 200 years ago. You hear about these legends of people that will take protest and wisdom of the day and synthesize it into poetry and song. And, like a wise African sage in a way. Yeah, that music and that style is very important to me. I think of the influence of Oscar Brown Jr. and Abbey Lincoln in some of my writing. So sometimes there's a subtle protest in their music that's not evident, right off the bat. I think a song like Consequence of Love, for me, there's a subtle protest in there. Sometimes people are like, well, where's the angry song like 1960 What? It's like, well, 1960 What is a documentary in a way, and just saying what is. And then, sometimes the impact, sometimes you don't have to dramatize documentary. You just have to say it or show it. And it is powerful in itself. And so, I had a thought about what I was going to say. So a song like Consequence of Love. I will go through the consequence of love. Whatever come, what may, you see, the game for me is you. I will fight for the right to be your love. No matter what they say, you see, the game for me is you. Now, that sounds like it's just a lovely, romantic lyric, but there's politics in that. Who in this current day and age has to fight for the right to love. Maybe it's gay people, maybe it's an interracial couple, maybe it's people who are very distant in economic ways. There's all these obstacles in the way of love. Now, a person who's going through that, a person who is being denied the right to hold the hand of their lover in a park, they hear that. They hear it. They're like, I will fight for the right to be your love. Okay, he's talking about me. You know, that interracial couple, it's like he's talking about me, you know. So there's protest sometimes in but in subtle ways. And sometimes I say to people, if you don't know the protest, you don't hear the protest. Now I could write the lyric that says that I'm suggesting all of the things that I'm suggesting. But I think, you know, at the same time, I am an artist and I like to, you know, poetry is important. All of these things are important. So, no, I'm not trying to hide it. I'm just, you know, this is how I speak. This is the way. This is my expression. And maybe forums like this is when I have the opportunity to expound and express really what it is that I'm trying to say. I think much of jazz is that way, and sometimes you don't discover these things until later, you know, like, you know, which is the beauty of any art, really. Something is created, and then like you have to go back to when it was written, who wrote it, and what were they thinking at the time, and what was the environment. You know, a song like Tony Bennett's Georgia Rose. Georgia Rose, Georgia Rose, you're the most precious rose Dixie knows. Though you don't seem quite right 'cause your skin's dark as night. Well, I know you've a heart lily white. You know, that's a hell of a protest song. That's a hell of a protest song. That's, and it's cleverly written. You know, you could find yourself humming along with that before you know it. Not, oh, wow, Georgia Rose. Georgia is this black woman who's trying to find her beauty in a place that doesn't value her beauty. You know, that's, it can have more impact in a subtle way. You know, somebody from the deep south could be humming that and not even know that they're internalizing these words of righteousness inside of them. You know, we think of these deep racial divides and these moments of crisis as just happening in black and white film in the 60s. But I say 1960 what, 1960 who, as in 1960, 1970 what, 1980 what, 1990 what. Clearly, we're still dealing with the same issues. These are the same issues from the 60s that law enforcement not finding the same level of respect for people of color as they do, you know, the majority population. And so that's not just the 60s. 1960 who is who? Who was it? It was, yeah, it was Martin Luther King, Medgar Evers. It was, you could go on and on. You know, there's the names we know, then there's a whole bunch of names that we don't know. And what, 60 what, 70 what, 80 what, 90 what? That's what I mean when I say 1960 what, 1960 who. History repeats itself. I think if we don't come up with new solutions to these same problems, then history will repeat itself again. So we have a new administration. So if we just sweep this stuff under the rug, again, it'll raise its ugly head again. It has to be exercised, these feelings. And so I don't know why we keep it. It's human. We're human. We're human. And, you know, I used to think about it this way. you know, what's the saying? That a fool is born every day. In a way, there's something clever about that, because you come to the understanding of the world, I don't know, maybe like 11, 12, 13, you start understanding things about life and politics and your place and your color and your socioeconomic, you know, all of these things you start to understand them. So there's hundreds of thousands, millions of those young minds blossoming and learning about life every day. And so there's new ignorance. There's a unending flow of ignorance that needs to be informed. So we'll never get over the conditions of humanity. I think you have to be reminded of war and conflict and injustice. You have to constantly talk about these things in music and our art, lest we forget, and it happens again. You know, these characters, these archetypes can raise their head again. You know, you know, people will sit around the table and suggest to the artist what can be popular and what can be the best thing to do to have the most sales, but and they pick and choose who are the best, who are you know, what messages we want to put out there. And I think there's probably great messages, great songs, great stories, great thought artistically in everything, in poetry and painting and everything, dance. I think those things are, I like to think that they exist in a lonely place and they're being created but not seen and not heard.